To make our life of faith more substantial, we must go through our personal experience with God. Every day we need to discover His love. God created us to be in communication with Him 24 hours a day. Jesus said to seek God, to ask God for answers directly. Not only do we seek God, but God Himself has a desire to meet with us 24 hours a day. Jesus' parable of the lost sheep makes us understand precisely that God personally seeks each of His children. So, sharing our lives with God in everything we do is important and must be our true existential purpose. This is not easy in life, partly because the way others relate to us is not often based on biblical principles or the teaching of Jesus. But in any case, if we are in a spiritual position similar to Abel with Cain, we must still respect them and relate to them as we respect and relate to God. For better or worse, they continue to be God's children and children whom God can seek and relate to through us as well. Our actions, our way of being, our way of living, must reflect an inner spiritual and divine standard. Why this? Because we must always remember that our life on earth is a preparation for eternal, spiritual life, to go and live in the kingdom of God or in the hellish levels, where Satan is the God and master. In the spiritual world where we go to live after the death of our physical body, we will have the same level of spirituality that we experience here on earth, whether good or evil, satanic. Nothing magically changes. We will have the same level of spirituality, the same heart, the same love, the same happiness that we have here, or the same inner stress and evil that we experienced in our earthly life. In Matthew 18, Jesus clearly explained to us that what we bind spiritually and inwardly in ourselves, here on earth, will remain spiritually bound to us even in the spiritual life. Future. So, we have to live healthy here in our physical life, but also spiritually. We have to remember this. We have to prepare ourselves to be free in the spiritual world and rejoice perfectly in the kingdom of God, and not be like a child who is born physically handicapped and cannot live his physical life fully and have to maybe, in a sports sense, participate in the Paralympics, but not in the main Olympics created for physically whole people. Even if we are struggling in our real life, because of one thing or another, even because of people, we must remember that God is with us and cooperates with us day and night. God is our best friend. We must think of him as father, as mother, but also as brother and friend. We must be free with God on every level. We are his children, and we were created by God. This is our precious treasure. Let us never forget this. Therefore, we must never lose respect for God. It is easy for Christian people, when they are young, to respect God and pay attention to the Bible. But when they start to be independent, start to fall in love, start to have material things, they often forget about God and the true reason for living voluntarily. We don't have to do that. If we remain in a good relationship with God, we can attract many good spirits and people from the spiritual world into our lives, who will help us live more with God Himself and grow in a godly way and prepare us for an eternal spiritual life in the kingdom of God in a happy, joyful and full way.